most of the people that I watch, I notice that they all got talking points, you know, and it used to start off with me just being in conversation with like a bullet point, but now I'm just seeing it take more shape. Anything you wanted to, anything on your mind? Anything specific?
Um, Not really, but what I was thinking was that I've been thinking about wanting to rebrand or like cultivate with all of the things that I've done this year for that to be like to be ready to like flush out for January. Like to be in a better position of like content batching and be able to flush that stuff back out for next year. Not
Got
to
you.
have to create new stuff.
Okay, so like, well, it sound like you ready to think through branding and branding strategy and marketing strategy,
Yeah.
or at least to start learning what they are.
Yeah. Like a theme of real revamping of my website. What do I've been doing a lot of research of the girls with the pricing and what they doing and where they at and where they going and how much it costs and like I've really been just looking, wondering, watching, and that's making me wanna
Organized in a
like
similar way.
organize. That's the thing,
Yep.
and show what I'm making.
So if I do that, do that, or am I able to go? Can I go add stuff to the live? Oh, that highlight. Don't you know how on Instagram they allow you to like share your no, like almost like you can share your screen.
Yeah. YouTube don't have that, or you
I
can't find
don't.
it right now.
Yeah, I don't see it if they do, because that'd have been raw if I could. But all right, so I think that's good that you want to. Well, because I think it's good because you done flushed out enough talking points. Like you done flushed out all of the information,
Right.
and then you got a habit of posting.
Right.
So now it's like going into developing like how to take that habit of posting and transition it into like marketing and branding strategy. So what I was gonna do now is give some backstory,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give some backstory because ultimately what we doing weekly is helping me develop a series of digital products
Okay.
in terms with my audience being artists, young entrepreneurs, people who trying to develop themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that when I was kind of digging into a lot of this information, the thing that stood out to me the most was productizing my knowledge. I That was the big thing that I'd never thought about.
Gotcha.
And I realized that until I could see myself and see my own value and how to turn my knowledge into a product, until I
Mm-hmm.
could see what that knowledge was, it almost wasn't no point in me going further with any of these other business strategies
Right.
because I was only coming to it with service ideas as a person with the service.
Mm.
So that's the reason why in our conversations, that's where I started our conversations very much. And first thing is seeing the knowledge over the service
Cause I
and knowing
don't know.
right and knowing that that's a process all in it. It was a process. It took time to be able to perceive my knowledge-based value, as well as the skills, but I didn't even know how to see them.
Right.
So that's where I kind of started. So now, slight backstory is what got me going in this direction, right? Was a post that I saw. And the post was a post that Danco had that I came across probably about, it was in 2023, so it was about a year and a half ago. And it say, read the full post. The future of the creator economy, my bold prediction and new way of life, just went live on danco.com blog. The link to read is in my story, right? So he got these little graphics and it says student, and then it's got school system. And it says conformity, memorization, standardized tests, convergent thinking, cogs in the machine, and then it equals employee, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the first slide on this carousel.
Got you.
Then it says student, and then this other system, creator economy, it's got curiosity, community, relevant skills, real world projects, specific knowledge equals entrepreneur.
Got you.
So when I'm looking at the two, I had never heard of creator economy, but I'm looking at all of this stuff as like the creator economy. I'm looking at these things being relevant to being an artist my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And being an artist my whole life took me in the direction of business that is entrepreneurial.
Right.
Unintentionally.
Right.
So that caught my attention. I'm like, dang, what is this? So then I go to the next slide. And then the next slide say, our ancestors were entrepreneurs. I'm like, oh, of course they were.
Of course.
Because we didn't have the industrial revolution system. We didn't have the medical system. We didn't have these systems in place that were having us go to school so we could become one of these employees of one of these institutions. The same institutions that make up the 9 areas of human activity, or 9 areas where racism is perpetuated.
Right.
If you listen to Francis Cress Welsing and Neely Fuller Jr. So somehow this range of stuff that I didn't study, I'm seeing how this stuff overlaps.
Right.
So of course they were entrepreneurs. They each served a purpose in their community with the skill, experience, and value they could provide. We are watching history repeat itself in the creator economy.
Yes.
Attract your community through content, provide value with a product, and be a positive contribution to humanity. So attract your community through content. Now, people are looking at it like, oh, I got to make content. Now, remember, the content is also the marketing material.
Right.
That's why it's what people get to experience for free, because it's the bait, right? Provide value with a product. The content is the bait that's pulling people in closer so you can exchange your value that you have through a product that you've created.
What's the third?
Well, the third one is, and be a positive contribution to humanity.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, just looking at, if the way we in the system, we all got needs and we all got wants and we all got this stuff that we want to do but can't figure it out, and information has been withheld and hidden, and you got to take these deep dives to know how to do something, or you got to spend your entire life getting good at being able to do something. Mm-hmm. Right now, we at a point where people are sharing information.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally sharing it. So once you creating content and you providing value with a product, the contribution to everybody is that you are somebody who's sharing information. And you sharing information that you had to work to get. And you making people not have to work as hard to get the information. They can save all of their energy for working on learning whatever it is that you're sharing. Like, think about it. You had to figure out how to find the knowledge that you were seeking. And then once you found it, you still had to learn it.
Right.
So by me sharing content, we are helping people find the information quicker than we found it.
Yes.
Because we saying, hey, if you're looking for this information, here it go right here.
Right. That last post that I just put up, 20 steps to become a braider, that took me 3 years to figure out, but then your quick ass 20 steps.
Yeah, here go to 20 steps. So you don't got to figure out the 20 steps.
Right.
You can focus on the 20 steps. So my whole thing was I had to realize that an artist doesn't automatically make you an entrepreneur.
No. But most people think they are.
Most people think that they are. Most people think that, oh, since I make money on my own independently, I don't work a job, I'm an entrepreneur. But an entrepreneur is a business person. So if you're not running a business, you just making money, you hustling, you surviving, whether it's a little bit of money or a lot of money, if you're not keen in on marketing and sales and leads and all this terminology that comes through the world of business, you are surviving off the money that you're making. But the moment you start to see what you're doing as a business, you kind of start your entrepreneur journey. So next slide. So that was it. Our ancestors were entrepreneurs. And it's like, oh, wow, this is talking to my soul. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, of course. You have to build your... You said what?
Of course I was one of the niggas in the field.
Right. Right. You have to build your own thing. Entrepreneurship is modern day survival.
Entrepreneurship is modern day survival.
Right? Your psyche is wired to hunt. You know, the kind of animal we are, we're designed to seek and find.
Right.
Or hunt, you know. You are neurobiologically rewarded for hunting for your survival, not for being a monkey in a cubicle. Meaning our minds is wired. A part of survival is having to figure it out.
Yes.
So a part of being alive is having to figure it out. And what's happening is you got a lot of people who sitting in cubicles working at jobs where they no longer have to figure it out. And it's created a level of comfort that's hurting people. It's hurting society. Is what we were talking about yesterday.
Yes.
Why everybody's sitting around, why y'all ain't trying to figure nothing out. You want this thing.
I want to go to the cubicle because it's figured out.
Right. Or you saying, I don't even want to go to the cubicle. So you don't want to be at the cubicle and you don't want to figure this thing out. That's why I say the stuff being figured out for you, survival being figured out for you is hurting society.
Dang. Because back in the day, when our ancestors, they probably all used every single skill that they had to make this little bitty town, and then they had everything they needed.
As a form of survival. It was just naturally built in. Figuring it out was naturally built in. So then once the system and society is put in place the way that we experience it now, first you got, you know, our ancestors, our great-great-grandparents, our great-great-grandparents being excluded from the system. Some of them comfortably being excluded, using what they know as a way to survive and live. And then you got other ones saying, well, I want to be inside of this thing where I don't got to figure it out no more.
Right.
So the more we went towards wanting to be included and inside of the system where you don't have to figure out survival anymore, the more we came away from being a group of people who are trying to figure it out. But then you got artists in all of these iterations of us being alive, whose natural practice is figuring it out. That's what we do naturally. Is whatever is inside, we are trying to figure it out.
That's crazy.
All right. So entrepreneurship is modern day survival. Your psyche is wired to hunt. You are neurologically rewarded for hunting, which means, that's the dopamine hit. Everybody talking about dopamine. You get dopamine once you figure something out. The aha, the epiphany, it worked. All of that is like taking some kind of drug, you know what I'm saying? Or your body is actually
enjoying that,
secreting some kind of drug.
Oh.
Right.
Gotcha.
See, you see when you just did that?
Yeah,
when you said,
I got excited.
Exactly, because you figured out what it was. Oh, yeah. Hunt for money to ease survival, hunt for money to ease survival-induced stress and open room for creativity. So the hunt for money, that's what we doing. That's what all this is about. We sitting here meeting for weeks, researching this stuff day after day after day after day after day, because ultimately what we're doing is we are looking for a different source of money. And we're looking for a source of money that fits within who we are.
Yeah.
Instead of going and getting money based on not being able to be who we are. At a time period where we're being taught that we are the ones doing something wrong by doing that.
Yes.
Why don't you just go get a job?
Yes.
Well, this is the reason why we don't just go get a job.
It's like it's hope.
It's like it's hope. So that was the next slide. So then the slide said, your brand is your story. Your content is your school. Your product is your map of reality. The world needs more holistic synthesizers. So that's the don't niche down. Be a value creator, meaning figure out how to link all of your interests and turn that into product and content.
The brand was the story, and what was the second one?
The brand is your story. Your content is your school.
Okay.
Your product is your map of reality. The world needs more holistic synthesizers. The world does not need more specialized clones. So the education school system creating and producing like it's on an assembly line, like we producing a car, thinking the same, functioning the same, imagining the same, with the same skills, just on a higher or lower level.
Does not help the economy.
It doesn't help the world.
Yes.
It don't help the world grow and evolve. But think about it. Industrial Revolution, the invention of the car, in the last 100 and however many years, supporting that business. So when they started producing the car, the school system didn't exist the way it does now. They created the school system to function in a way that you get out of school and then you fall into one of these institutions and areas that supports the car, basically.
Gotcha.
The building of freeways, all of the wars based on oil, all of the Rust Belt cities with steel and the Industrial Revolution.
That's crazy.
Right. So, and look at it like this. You understand it if you look at the digital age right now.
What you mean?
Well, when you look at technology, right? You look at social media. You look at education in relationship to technology and social media. You looking at what schools are teaching versus what the information is that's more valuable for people to actually learn.
Gotcha. You get more value on the internet.
Right. Because the education is supporting the biggest industry. In a similar way that the education system, school system was supporting the biggest industry. It used to be cars. It used to be steel, oil, coal. So now those industries, right, are not the label that's on the basketball floor when you watch the basketball game. Those labels for whatever big companies, LTV Steel, all of the cities that was big on cars.
That used to be on the floors?
Yeah, that was who was sponsoring all this stuff.
Gotcha. Now the cars themselves are sponsoring it?
No, who's sponsoring the events? Amazon, Hulu, Netflix.
HBO Max, you know.
Well, so you see how the digital companies, like it's a power shift happening right now. And if you didn't figure out how to HBO Max or Peacock in transition, you disappearing. Everybody talk about Elon Musk. What is Elon Musk responsible for? What's the most popular thing?
Tesla.
The Tesla. And what's the Tesla?
A virtual car, a digital car?
Electric.
Electric car.
Which means he is the most popular person in the world with the car that is following the industry of technology. So his car don't need no gas? When the last 150 years, 120 years, however many years has been about the car and gas? So when he talking technology, we talking cell phones, iPhones, and all this kind of stuff. His industry is in a whole nother area in Africa looking for a whole nother resource.
Yeah.
Which is the coltan. Which is what's in the phones and all that. So they ain't digging for oil. They didn't switch the natural resource.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's why this is huge. This information being accessible. Because the artists and the spiritual people have never had this much freedom to be themselves and this much information that's public.
Yeah.
Like ever. All right, so that was that next slide. So mind you, this was the post that I read.
3 years ago.
No, this was 2023.
Gotcha.
It was just like January 2023. So I didn't take the dive into this information until October.
Gotcha.
Even though I seen this post and printed, they go to print of it. But it took me, I don't know 10 months to clear my mind enough to recognize that I needed to go back to it and take a dive. I'm convinced that the future of schooling will be done online with creators as teachers, and each student can join the school that aligns the most with their interests, values, and preferred method of learning. So you could imagine how excited I am when I'm reading this post, because he's visualizing what artists and educators and entrepreneurs need to happen.
Yes.
And he's also visualizing where the technology is already started going. So yeah, so that was the post, right? Some of that didn't make no sense to me when I first read it. That whole, your brand is your story, the content is your school, your product is your map of reality. I couldn't comprehend that.
Gotcha.
When I first read that, because this was the first thing I got introduced to. It makes perfect sense now, because it's what I've been sharing and communicating. You know what I'm saying? So then it was something else that I found that he talked a lot about, and more than anything, it was the one person business. You know, and I hadn't heard the one person business because I had been an artist all my whole life. I've been making money with my art my whole life. And what I was already struggling with was feeling like I was more serious than the people around me, so I couldn't even really get help. You know, or I'm learning how to do something that it take time to get good at. So people didn't necessarily, if they didn't have the interest in getting good at it, then I couldn't hire them to help me. And I thought it was something wrong with me doing this stuff on my own until I seen one person business, right?
So one person business is Danco?
Yep. One person business is Danco. I mean, there's other people, but that's how I got introduced to it. And it just seemed like he's popularizing it. So the one person business, goals, problems, systems, benefits.
Goals, problems, systems, benefits.
Yep. So the goals, what do you want out of life? What do you want? Problems, what's standing in your way? Systems, how did you solve the problem? Don't all this sound familiar?
How did you solve the problem?
Mm-hmm. And then you got benefits. How has it impacted your life? All right. Mm-hmm. So then you got the way he got it broken down is the goals turns into your brand. What are you leading people towards? That's the brand. The problems turn into the content. What roadblocks will they encounter? The systems, the how did you solve the problem, that turns into the product. How can they solve their own problems faster?
That makes so much fucking sense.
Right.
How can they solve their problems faster? Mm-hmm.
So it's like whatever you would create for yourself to be able to assist you in solving the problems that you face and trying to reach the goal is the product. The benefits is your marketing. Why should they care about your message?
Can you answer these 4 questions?
Mm-hmm.
What you leading people towards?
Where we at on the brand?
Yep.
So we are leading. So if we look at artists as our audience,
Mm-hmm.
is helping artists figure out who they are. Because if artists can figure out who they are, they can ultimately make the work that they're supposed to make. And once you make the work that you're supposed to make, it's easier to make money.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're leading artists towards, is artists to be able to live off of being artists. Like that's the primary goal.
Yes.
Hands down, that's the primary goal. That's what most creative people are trying to figure out. What do I got to do to be able to live off of the art that I'm making? Not how do I survive off of my ability to make it? Because that's one thing that people getting twisted really, really bad. Is they're saying, I got these creative abilities that I've developed. I got these creative skills that I have, and they can be rented out.
So you're not saying that?
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm saying when you don't rent out your creative skills and you are expressing who you truly are, it's easy. That's when it becomes easy to make money.
Mm.
And then you can make money off of what you're expressing. You don't have to be limited to making money off of your ability to create something that someone else is expressing. This is what Kendrick Lamar talking about when he talking to Pimp Your Butterfly. It's taking your creative ability and putting it online and saying, hey, hire me for my creative service.
That's Pimping the Butterfly?
Yeah. Because the butterfly is the special, unique part of you that's inside of you.
Gotcha.
So that's why most companies hire artists to do whatever it is that they need them to do. We don't want you to say what you want to say. We want you to use the language that you speak creatively and say what we need said, and we're going to give you this amount of money for it. I call it hustling your talent.
That's the hustle.
Yeah. Not that you shouldn't do it. You just got to be aware that that's what you're doing. Some people is confusing that with making art. You know?
Yep.
So that's what we're leading people towards. We're leading artists towards knowing who they are, self-actualization. Like really being able to tap all the way into who they truly are. How are we doing that? Learning how to be a one-person business, productizing knowledge, finding out who you are, breaking down yourself technically, conceptually, and figuring out how to see your own value. Because once you can see your value, then you can go into the direction of being able to monetize your value before other people try to monetize your value.
And what type of roadblocks will they encounter?
What roadblocks will they encounter? One of the roadblocks is going to be your perception of yourself. That's going to be the biggest roadblock.
That's going to change?
Well, you got to deconstruct your perception of yourself. So when you ask yourself, who am I? The first thing you got to do is you got to deconstruct that. And until you deconstruct who you are a collection of how you recognize that you're seen by people. You're a collection of other people's perceptions.
Which is completely different.
Which is exactly. It's completely different, and it's the opposite of who you are. So that was one of the biggest roadblocks that I faced, is once I was trying to figure out, well, who am I? What is it that I want to say? I had to really study, what is it that I say right now? What am I saying right now? And then it was like, okay, well, am I saying that because that's what is that me? Or am I saying that for this environment, this situation, this relationship? Mm-hmm. And once I realized that a lot of who I was keeping to myself. And I was being, lesser versions of myself, I had to figure out. That's what helped me figure out who I was. Really paying attention to who I wasn't. This is not me. Oh, this ain't me. That ain't me.
Once you get past that roadblock.
So once you get past the roadblock of, who you really are, and deconstructing who you are, then the reconstruction of who you are, ultimately, you won't know until you start to illustrate it in the work.
Right.
And at this time, you gonna battle with how are you gonna make money? If the goal is, if you realize, you start to realize that money clouds what you make.
Yes.
So if money is clouding what you make, right? And you got to keep making what's in you to make in order for you to figure out who you are. How do you do that with no money? Because remember, the money doesn't come until after you've expressed yourself.
Right.
So that's another roadblock, is the money balance. What do you do for money? While you figure out who you are based on what you're expressing.
You make time for that?
Well, that's just the roadblock.
Right. Figure it out. Whatever works for you.
You learn as you're learning your true value, you start to value money less.
Yes.
It forces it to happen. You start to have experiences that speak louder when you're being who you are, when you're expressing who you are, when you're making who you are. That becomes louder than selling the work that you made. Around this time, you realize, oh, I can make money doing anything. I don't really have to convolute what I'm making with money. Because once you make the true thing to you, then you got something really valuable. If you ain't making what's true to you, you're making something that other people are making. So now you gonna lower the price because you think that's gonna make it sell. Because it don't have no true value. That's why a lot of creative people make the mistake of thinking that if I charge for this, if I put a price on it, that's what I got to do to sell it.
But you don't.
No, what you got to do to sell it is you got to be able to speak to it.
Because the story sells it.
The story is what sells it. People buy the thing you made because the thing you made carries the story that you are sharing, the experience that you're sharing. So they really are buying the story. Right. How can you solve their problems faster? Is to be able to put in one place these things that no school is really teaching you.
Like the frameworks.
Yeah, yeah. It's not having to figure out like that. Don't you know the saying, you don't know what you don't know? The product that we creating is showing you what you don't know. So now you don't have to figure out what you don't know.
Yeah.
You just got to figure out. You just got to figure out
how to get it.
These points. But you ain't got to figure out what you don't know. Now you know what you don't know.
And them 20 steps, them 5 steps, them whatever is them.
Yep. It's gonna get you there quicker. See, we had to make up our own, we had to go through the whole process. And now we like reverse engineering what happened.
So we can get them there quicker.
Yeah. Like we didn't know what we were supposed to be thinking about. Why should they care about your message? Because, I'm a part of the community that the message is made for. I'm a spokesperson. They should care because I done already walked the path that they walking. That's why I think they should care about it. It's the it's some of this inside secret information that ain't just being made accessible.
Right, this is high quality, care about you.
But when I'm looking at benefits, how has it impacted your life? I mean, the biggest way it's impacted my life is I support my life
Off this thing.
off of being an artist.
Mm.
You know, and I can go back. I know more roadblocks is gonna be the people around you, especially family. You the odd person out. You always have been.
Mm-hmm. And they gonna make you feel bad for it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So how you gonna stay true to what you believe while keeping them around if you want them around, or not having them around if you don't?
Yeah.
Definitely gonna be the people around you. And they might make you feel like you're doing something wrong.
Oh yeah, they definitely gonna make you feel like you're doing something wrong. That's why I'm a firm believer of when you trying to become successful in any kind of business, it's like you got to get away from the people that you know. Like I'm never looking for people that I know as my clients.
No. They wanna lowball you, they want everything too.
Yeah, they want
They're
you.
not gonna show you your full potential or your full capability.
Yep. Yep.
There's gonna be them clients that turn friends, or people you meet out of nowhere.
Yep. Yep.
They're gonna take your time seriously.
Then I came across some more info, some more Danco stuff when it comes to brand, especially the fact that you just mentioned brand.
Mm-hmm.
So if brand is what are you leading people towards, the other side of it is who can you help the most? And specific age, traits, interest, what keeps them up at night, what do they dream of doing, and describe them in 4 words.
Dang.
Right.
Very
Specific. And oftentimes, who you can help the most is who you used to be.
Right. So what was the age?
Age, traits, interest, what keeps them up at night? What do they dream of doing?
I know for what they dream of doing, it's like they dream of making their own money, not working for nobody.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But when I was reading something, what he said was, it's 2 more things. It's like these are the 3 things you want to think about when you're thinking about your brand. Is who can you help the most? What can you help them achieve? And then it's back to that, why should they care? So you notice he's saying the same thing a bunch of different ways.
What was the third one?
Why should they care? / why are your skills or interests important?
know the girls that want quality over quantity the most.
Hmm. Yeah, and what I'm noticing is what's probably gonna start happening is who you talking to is probably gonna become a little more broad,
Mm-hmm.
where because you're not only talking to like if you had to write out the age, the traits, the interest, what's keeping them up, wanting to be able to make their own money and not work a job applies to more than just braiders.
Yeah,
You know?
the age bracket is wide as hell, too.
Right. So when you talking to who you can help the most, and the conversation is about how to make your own money and not work a job, your net is wider. You know?
Yeah.
You're gonna be talking to the braiders too. Because technically, this is just one of the things that you're doing. You know?
Entrepreneurship part of it.
Yeah, yep. It's one of the things that you're doing. So it's always gonna be promoting and marketing information to braiders. But think about it, like these big conferences that these speakers and these artists and entrepreneurs, when they go in and they speaking, everybody in the audience don't do what they do.
Right.
You know, when I'm talking to artists, everybody ain't drawing or got a camera. So then was those three things. Was that the last thing? That might have been the last thing. Because all this other stuff was value creator, genuine interest. Oh, and then this last thing that I grabbed said, for a brand, tell a story. For content, make a map. For product, create a game. Which,
That's raw.
right.
For brand, make a what?
Tell a story. For content, make a map. For a product, create a game.
This still Dango?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And this is information I done collected at different times. So I'm like watching him develop what he's teaching simultaneously.
Like it evolved.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. And he talks a lot about, well, a lot of people are talking about having somewhere to organize all of the information. Like writing it down or in apps, but it's like when you know, if you saving people, like if you following people online and you getting inspiration for content or talking points or a product that you would develop, is like really being able to save it, organize it, and going to that as a way to create more content. Like, so when you talking like posting strategies and marketing strategies, is like looking at some of the people that you follow or looking for somebody to follow who that's what they are doing, is they're implementing a marketing strategy.
Right. That girl we was talking about last week, she just hit one 1 million
A million,
followers.
really? Which girl?
Destiny, the one that talk and be adding sound effects, and they be telling what they be about to get done to their hair.
Oh, got you.
I feel like her posting strategy is very raw and real, mixed with like the sound effects that allow you to enjoy the video a little bit more.
Right, but it's like how frequent does she post? And then it's like, what does she post? Is she posting stuff like, does she do this on this day a week? Is this coming this day a week? Like, what's the sequence of how she's sharing her content? You know? Because I haven't come up on anybody really sharing marketing strategies, but that's what I'm trying to keep my eyes out for, open for.
She posts every day.
So she really just,
Even when she posts the second part the next day.
on like a part 1, part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I like the strategy that I'm watching that I really like is I like the newsletter, the weekly newsletter. I like the newsletter turned into the 20-minute or less video, like YouTube.
Okay.
And then the video turned into text memes.
Like a good swipe.
Yeah. And I really like the different content for different platforms. Like, I like that a lot. I don't know that that's what I'm gonna do, but I definitely, it's just some people that I know that I can only get some information in their podcast. And I'm gonna get this on Instagram, and I'm gonna get text memes on Instagram. But I gotta go to YouTube to watch the videos. But I know I want something that's more than just me talking. Something that's a little more organized. That's weekly.
That they get.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm having fun with the vlogs. I'm having fun with the random straight out the camera. I'm having fun with the poem turned into, or the text from the note turned into captions or turned into posts that support it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know what I wanted to show you. The video we were watching that I sent to Allie yesterday.
Somebody gonna go there?
Yep. Did you see that money breakdown? You ain't see none of it, did you? Just kind of heard us talking about it?
Yeah.
Or you did see the $20, $200, $2,000, $20,000?
No, I don't remember that part. But is that the low value? That's the value ladder?
Yep, technically, yep, that's a value ladder.
The inexpensive, expensive, extra expensive.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So ultimately, he was breaking down $20 product. You got to sell 50,000 units of it to make $1 million. But then the way he broke it down, because this is how he wrote it out.
Dang. Okay.
And then he just was breaking down that to make the math the same, right? He kept everything going by a million. If you move 1 0 from here to here,
You gotta sell less of the thing.
you sell less of the thing when you sell it for 200.
Gotcha.
And then you move to 0 again and sell less of the thing. So he was just breaking down that he didn't know how to write a book, but he wanted a book.
Right.
And his whole format for writing the book,
Was investing.
well, right, well, he went to the conferences and all that, but then he also got a strategy of similar to what I be talking about, is he had 4 hours of audio that he got transcribed and got an editor to sequence it and arrange it as a book. Now you got a book. So you sell the $20 book, and then you take all of the content in the book and turn it into a $200 audio course. Ultimately, which is when people click on the different modules or the next lesson, they get audio from you kind of talking through, or a video clip of you talking through whatever that next thing is. So that's the $200 range. So you got the book, then you got the book, and it's $20. So that's they do it on their own, right? Same book, same content. Now you talk through it.
That's the course.
That's the audio course. But then you move to 0 again. Same content. Now for $2,000, it's the full out course that somebody could download for $2,000.
That's after they do it on their own, you do it with them.
Yep.
And then what's the next one?
After the 2,000.
After they do it, you do it with them.
They do it on their own. See, this other guy broke that down. I'm trying to think. I don't know that it pertained to the way that he broke it down.
Gotcha.
But it's definitely like you do it on your own. They do it on their own. You do it with them. You do it for them. Which was this other guy's value ladder. But you do it for him, his was already at the $20,000 thing. You know, I could come and I could set up your full business. Yeah.
With the body. Yeah, 'cause I'm ready to sell something. A jacket, a hoodie, a person, or somebody. A doll.
Right, which means, so now when you're looking at your brand, it's like, what should you be selling? Because this what I done made recently. You seen this?
That's raw. Straight to the point.
Right. And it makes sense.
'Cause I want to sell one of them stencil heads or something like this.
You got to make it make sense to the brand.
Because I got to create a game.
No. You on the product, right?
Yeah.
The product is,
How can I solve their problems?
hold on, let me see.
Or map of reality.
Well, the product is definitely how can I solve their problems faster. So that's what this, that's what the framework is. That's what the laying out the course, laying out the steps.
Oh, so those, how can I solve their problems faster, is the classes and courses and stuff like that.
100%. Yep.
This is technically marketing.
What?
A hoodie or a t-shirt.
It's a product. It's a physical product. Like, look at it like this. I got a t-shirt that I made that's the steps of how to pop a willy. Right. And it's just 5 words on the front of a t-shirt.
I'll get my son big polos.
You know, like, do you wear an apron when you?
I need to print on my apron. I need to sell aprons that got little people's on them.
It's got the information on it.
Oh, but okay, with steps.
Like, what if the apron had the hand? What if it had a braid? You know what I'm saying? Like, what if it was the? You ever seen like drawings of how to tie a knot?
Like the 3 strands.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just me thinking off the top of my head. Like, what is it that you would make for yourself that would make your experience more convenient? Like, what's some of those steps? One of those things that this will become a reminder of. You know,
Like pre-parting or the 5 tools that you always need, something like that.
possibly. Or what is it that, as a braider, what is it that I would want to wear that represents that, you know?
Oh, so it can be either or, but the knowledge is one part of it.
Yep. I just started coming up with all kinds of stuff that took the knowledge and turned the knowledge into the graphic designs.
Got you.
Because I ain't seeing that. You know?
Yep. Or even the posters, they got every single thing that you need when you come in a braider, like the little, I seen them on Amazon. Like how to use a tool, like how to, not that specifically, but like.
And it might be your checklist.
What checklist?
The toolkit.
My product list?
Yeah. And then if you don't got a checklist, maybe you should make one.
I got a product tool list.
But like, think about it. When you getting ready and you getting set up, are you making sure you got everything that you need? Do you ever forget any of those things? Or was it a time period where you would forget things? Well, what if you had on the inside of your hoodie all of the stuff that you needed to remember? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just
right.
Like, so it's almost like you gotta toggle between who you are now and who you used to be.
And make it raw, make it make sense. That's where the game come in.
As far as what?
Product create a game.
Well, to create a game is, when I'm reading that, I'm seeing the game as, you know, how fast can you do knotless braids, you know, hitting the timer, you know what I'm saying? Like making any of it a game or competition or play, you know, where you sitting there and you about to show your clock, you about to record, and you about to see how fast you can do it. You about to see if you can beat the record. You know what I mean? Like on that level. So I haven't seen a whole lot of products as games and examples of it. But I'm just trying to be open to being able to perceive what that means, you know? Like, did you see, it was something I just saw where somebody braided somebody's hair, but they put a cross in the middle of their head. You seen that?
This is a trend.
So imagine if that was cut out, Nate. Like, imagine if that was just the cross with braids, where it ain't a whole head. You know what I'm saying? It's just that cross. Like, what if the symbols that people were putting in braids
became
separated, like if you put the symbol. If you put the heart in the head, you put the cross in the head. And then you in Photoshop removed everything except the cross, except the heart, except the flower, except, you know what I'm saying?
Or any of the 6 braids above my desk. I feel like I know shapes up there. But taking the braid, I tried a rose before. But like technically like that, taking something, cutting it out, and then making that a design on a jacket.
Yep. But if it was a simple icon or symbol,
that hit one hard.
yeah. And I think you should try to think of what you would want.
These ones.
Right. So what I'm thinking is if
I would still need some type of knowledge to complement these things.
not necessarily, I'm thinking of them separate. Like I think you could put a comb on a apron and it'll go crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, like just a comb.
It's like these little how-to posters that I'm imagining that I would love to recreate. Yeah. The tools, the braid patterns, playing with them. Posters, aprons, hoodies, things that I really use.
And I think you should maybe start making you a couple prototypes. Like you make you one to wear. Like the woman, the guy who is talking about early childhood trauma, he wear a hoodie that say life is mental. The woman who is posting all of the advice to artists, she wear a hoodie all the time that say create.
I want a braid artist hoodie. I like my hoodie that say braid season that I got from one of them classes. Like every season is braid season. Yep.
So is that the slogan?
Braid season?
Every season is braid season.
Oh, that's a good slogan. That might be the slogan. Or a start off slogan.
Yeah, I mean, you can make it simple, and then you could make a couple of them and send them to a couple people. But I think if you can figure out some kind of checklist, some kind of reminder, braid something, and put that on the shirt, because we ain't seeing that. We ain't really seeing nobody combine the knowledge with the product. We ain't really seeing these memes in these 10 steps or 5 steps or 3 principles turn into the merchandise.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? And I think you're supposed to make a couple of these and wear them until they rip and falling apart. So every time you're in the video,
I got something on.
you're branding it.
Like when I'm braiding my hair or when I'm doing hair.
Yep. That's what made me say the apron, something that you would put on each time. So on the branding, it seemed like it should be, it seemed like the stuff should be clean.
You said which one?
Clean. Solid. So I was gonna say not busy, but what do I mean clean? Simple text, simple font, limited color. You know?
Yep. Because it feels like part of my rebranding is because a lot of it feels busy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like the reason why I wanted to start over or do something different. Definitely solid backgrounds. And then am I supposed to be taking posts that did really good and trying to use that content, or am I trying to do both and play with it and just and try new stuff too?
I think you're supposed to. I think you're supposed to. I think you're supposed to really study a few pages that you follow. And I think you're supposed to create your own content that's complementary. You know?
Because at first, when we was thinking about listing things, I was thinking about this post, boundaries to set as a braider. But then once I looked at them, all of these are good quotes by themselves for a t-shirt or something. Don't hesitate to say no.
So it should be both.
Where they come with lists and then they also come with individual one-hitters.
Yep. Yep. How did it perform? It performed good.
Yeah, it got 2.2K views, but it only got 70 likes, and it got 2 shares. My question is, this watch time, that's how much time everybody in the whole wide world spent watching this video?
Yep.
Gotcha.
Wow, what's the watch time?
The duration of the video is 12 seconds, but they watched it for 3 hours and 24 minutes.
Exactly. That's them 2,000 views.
Gotcha.
That mean they watching it over and over and over again.
84% of it was non-followers. It's still doing good to this day.
Right. So what you're supposed to do is you can create a improved version of that. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean improved, not even improved, another, you create it in another way. So you make it text, memes, and a carousel. You know what I'm saying?
The videos to
You take one of those and look at them and use it as a talking point. I notice on a lot of the braid videos when people aren't talking, it's just a whole message that stay out there the whole time. You know what I mean? Like it's a almost like kind of what you did, but it's like a statement up there, and that statement just say there, and the whole video is silent.
Mm-hmm. And whatever it is, make you want to read it.
Yeah. Like what do that say?
Truth is, braiding doesn't feel like a stressful job to me anymore because.
Right. So something similar to that, but don't make it.
So long.
No. Make it long, but give me some of that other stuff. Give me you know, give me a roadblock. Talk to me about a roadblock that I'm encountering. You know what I'm saying?
Like if you're doing this, try this type things too.
Yeah.
Pain points.
Yeah.
Not just the good stuff.
Yeah, and really, and maybe talk to me a little more about me.
What you mean?
Well, that one post said what did it say? My experience. What did it say?
The truth is, braiding doesn't feel like what's it name?
Yeah.
I don't
What?
know if you burnt out chasing money as a braider.
I think the
Truth is.
What did it say?
The truth is, braiding doesn't feel like a stressful job to me anymore because.
So it's almost like flip that and turn that to me, turning it into a you message.
Does braiding feel like a stressful job to you?
Or I know y'all be stressed out about braiding. You know what I'm saying? Like talk to me, directly to me. See, because it not feeling as stressful for you.
Don't mean.
No. It's you being able to you understand that we stressed over here.
Gotcha.
You feel what I'm saying? You can relate. You know how I feel already when you talk about how you feel. So you can talk right to me feeling like that. I know y'all stressed out over there, but you know what I'm saying? Like almost like literally having a conversation with what you already know is happening. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It was something that I had to work on is I had to get a good balance between my I statements and my you statements.
So when is the perfect time to use? You try both of them?
Well, you do both of them because the I is your relatability. Go ahead.
What's the you?
The you is the agitate.
Okay.
The you is pain points. The you is roadblocks. You braiding for the last 5 days. You know what I'm saying? It's the weekend coming up, so I know y'all about to get phone call. You know, whatever it is, but you can talk directly. Because when I read and I see the word you, I think you talking about me.
Mm-hmm. When you want to save $250 on your hair, you braid your hair yourself. 2K views.
Straight like that.
In comparison to, I don't know if you're burnt out and chasing money as a braider. Or expectations from my clients.
But the braiding yourself is gonna be is a huge market for it. So as you do it, as you say it, as you suggest it, parting your own hair is all of that. It's gonna be huge.
Yeah, and I took a lot of content while I braided my hair this time, and I'm actually proud of it. So that's gonna be a lot of content that I'll be able to use. Even though it took me 3 days, it's still okay. You know? Like, I didn't even feel bad the amount of time it took this down. And taking my captions and making them post too.
Mm-hmm.
I need to do that more. I love braids for my birthday. My last 3 years worth of birthdays. And a post by itself. I retook this video and added words to it.
And you just already had that video and just added the
words to it.
Yep.
So now I give them, and it got more. I feel like it got more views this time than it did last time, because it was probably, and most likely because it was quick.
And last time it was what, just music?
It was me talking, but you could, and it was longer.
Oh, okay, got you.
And then my videos that be longer than 1:30, like I just be posting them 1:30 a piece. But I feel like I probably should make a YouTube or something. Because when I post videos that's long, like when I posted that video that was like 5 minutes on Instagram, they basically said, bitch, we not showing these to nobody because it's too long. Like, we not sharing this, we're not promoting this to their friends. I don't remember what exactly it said, but...
Right, well, the longer videos, I know...
Oh no, this got a lot of views the first time.
The longer videos need to go through like a storytelling process. Like, so those, that persuasive writing, the big problem, like, because a story will capture somebody's attention all the way through. When it's longer, it's a story.
And not just a story that like you do the voiceover for or that they see.
Possibly, but it's the story that do it though. It's how that story is told. And them 6 points of that story writing, that persuasive writing, those points in that order is like strong, attention grabbing story structure.
Got you. So taking a video and taking it through them.
Yeah, like the big problem be when you start off and then you forgot this. And I mean, like, it's like literally seeing your video or seeing your content and talking through it through those points. You know, when they talking drama and drama sales, you started off with the problem. That's why you start off with the big problem.
Right. I feel like that's why the video when I did the vlog with me and Susie, the one that hit the most was the one that was the funniest, the fastest.
Oh, it got to the funny fastest?
Yeah, she said, put your girl, zip your coat up and let's get ready to go. And I said, I don't wanna.
Yeah.
That was like that's not what I want to do. But in comparison to these hitting a little bit later or you having to watch for a minute, the views were a little lower. This one
Yeah, because it's a way to hold people's attention with how you tell the story. Visually, text only, just words. You know what I'm saying? And them 6 points solid.
Mm-hmm.
But the more you start to play with it, just like being able to see your knowledge, you're gonna be able to see how everything can start off with. The big problem is, this is the big problem. To the point where you ain't gonna have to say this is the big problem, you just gonna announce.
What the big problem is.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I think you should. If it was me, I'll be trying to figure out the first and only like T-shirt or apron that I would be getting ready to print up and start wearing.
Okay. So I got an apron at home.
But I think if we can really figure out, so it's really figuring out a T-shirt to sell to these braiders. Where they like, oh, I want that.
Right. Maybe I need to just funnel through all my little quotes and just write them all down, and then we just need to talk about them. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And if there's any quotes that's happening in the world of braiding that ain't nobody capitalized off of.
Mm-hmm. Looking at all the braid grooves. That's the only thing in my recents. Just braiders.
Yeah, like my mind is like, you know, it's different types of braids. But I already know it's a bunch of black women in this world. It's all kinds of slang that's being spewed. I know it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna look for
Like it's like the tatted as fuck. It's some shit that's coming out of y'all mouths that's already just ready to be
talked about, spoken on.
yeah, it's the people probably made it's probably hashtags that y'all done made up. That's slogan, slang, shorthand for you know what I'm saying? Like what's the slang for braiding? Get twist. But it's something.
Isn't it?
Hmm.
Is it a slang for braids?
And I mean I can think of what guys, you know, when niggas was wearing braids, a lot of this, I'm about to get my shit twisted. All right. We probably done over here. Anybody was still on?
Mm-mm. I remember my friends, man.
You said they didn't? All right, we out till next week. Mm.